I'm well aware of how long it's taken to get here, and I'm very sorry, but finally, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the finale of probably my favorite series on the channel. Act 3, The Point of No Return, whatever you want to call it, was such an interesting time for me when I played it. On my first playthrough, I blew through the main story and didn't really play the side missions, so I was a bit sad. Sad I didn't get to really live in the world of Night City or spend more time with V and Johnny and Pan Am or Judy. Sad I didn't actually take my time with the side missions, which is partly on me because I could have just not gone past the point of no return, but it was during COVID and I really didn't have anything else to do. Nevertheless, I was having an existential crisis after completing the game because then I went back and did the other endings, which put me deeper into this crisis, and eventually I got over it until Phantom Liberty. Needless to say, I will be talking about the endings in general at length at the end of this video, but for now, let me stop with the existentialism because that comes later. Before I begin, let me fully explain the endings, as I was a little confused the first time I had heard about them. Technically, there are 5 endings to the game. These endings are dubbed the Devil, the Sun, the Star, Temperance, and the Tower. Each ending has slight variations, making it feel as if the game has countless endings, but all of the missions I'm going to discuss are included in these 5 endings. That being said, the first mission of Act 3 is called Nocturne OP 55N1. It's in reference to the piece Nocturne in F minor OP 55 No. 1 by Polish composer Frederick Chopin. This may seem a lot as I am a bit of a music nerd, so bear with me. OP 55 refers to Opus 55, a set of music compositions made by Chopin. The number 1 refers to the fact that in the Opus 55 set, this specific piece is the first one of that set. Enough about that, but essentially, most people are more familiar with the E-flat major version of Nocturne, but this is also a very popular piece, and it's the one Hanako herself is playing as you enter Embers. This song has no real meaning in terms of lyrics because there aren't any, but it is a bit sad and ominous as V's story is coming to an end, whether that be a good one or bad. It's used in so many crushing moments in movies or shows and absolutely gives off that feeling, so kudos to the writer of the game for choosing this specific song to convey that feeling. Now for the actual start to the endings, let's go in order and begin with the Devil. The Devil ending is all about basically helping Hanako avenge her father's death and accepting her deal to get rid of the relic and keep your life. To start off the Devil ending, we have Last Caress. Hanako's brother has locked her in the Arasaka estate and she asks us to break her out. The song Last Caress is a very literal one, being by the Misfits. It deals in the idea of a character looking towards death and wishing for it. Last Caress itself, as a title, means the last caress of life as they're wishing for death to finally reach them. It reflects V's seemingly going on a suicide mission after choosing to trust Hanako and Arasaka as a whole. But upon saving Hanako and bringing her to Arasaka Tower, we begin Total Immortal. It's a song by A Fire Inside, and it feels more like a needle drop than anything else. During this mission, we fight through Yorinobu's forces throughout the tower until we finally confront him personally. There's heavy speculation about the song being about a vampire, hence the name and actual content of the song, but it's never been outright stated by any of the band members. It's also in reference to what actually happens during this mission, that being that we learn Saburo Arasaka himself is still alive. He stored copies of his consciousness in multiple engrams in the event of his death. He escaped death and found a way to totally immortalize himself. After finally confronting Yorinobu, we leave with Hellman, who takes us to Arasaka space station to have our surgery done with the relic, beginning the mission Where Is My Mind. It's the final mission of the Devil ending, and it's a song by the Pixies. The song's literal definition is about snorkeling and the positions in which you swim. As for what it means in relation to V and their situation, there couldn't be a better song to define their journey with this ending and what it is they're currently feeling. See, during this ending, you're going through a mundane daily routine of an Arasaka doctor running tests on you to make sure you're good to go home. Eventually, you get tired of the routine and you just want to leave completely. This is worsened especially when you're allowed to call home to your friends and family. Because of my playthrough, I had entered a relationship with Judy, and while everything seemed to be okay, something felt off and empty. You couldn't leave, and remnants of Johnny's voice remained in your head, so there was still this imbalance V seemed to face. V also began to call into question whether or not the decision they made was the right one after Takamura revealed to us that the surgery was a failure and we were going to die within the year. All this to say, V is seemingly left in a state of muddiness because of everything that's happened over the last few weeks, similar to the song's name. We now move to one of the fan favorite endings with the Sun. Now there's 2 ways to begin this ending, as the sole achievement with this ending is to become a legend of the afterlife. I want to save the best ending for last, so I'll only be talking about one way to get this ending for now. For Whom the Bell Tolls is the mission you're given if you decide to ask Rogue for help storming Arasaka. It's a song by Metallica and actually one of the few songs in this series I had heard before this game. I love this decision to name the mission this for a few reasons. One, it's named after the Ernest Hemingway novel of the same name. It's a great novel and I highly recommend reading it, but it's about the truth and brutality of war told through the thoughts and perspectives of the protagonist in the middle of said war. More so, how there are no true winners in war. When it's all said and done, when the blood is done being shed, the only winners are simply the ones who survived. Even then, they must carry the burden of their actions for the rest of their lives. Johnny and V knew on some level that going into this, something isn't going to go their way. It's also a novel that you can use during Jackie's ofrenda in the Mission Heroes. It's almost as if it's trying to equate being a Night City legend to war and posing the question, do the ends justify the means? The song itself, however, as with most of these, just fits so well if you're using it within the context of what's actually happening in-game. When Johnny, Rogue, and Waylon crash land, we're given the mission Knocking on Heaven's Door. You make your way through Arasaka, Atom Smasher, and so on, similar to Total Immortal from the other ending. However, there's a lot more melancholy. Being a song by Bob Dylan, it shot up on my list of favorite mission names. However, the song itself is about a man in the final moments of his life as he's slowly dying. V, even with Johnny in control, is slowly losing access to their body and they'll lose it forever eventually. They're both literally and metaphorically knocking on heaven's door as they come to their final moments alive. I highly recommend this song, especially because it's Bob Dylan, but it's also just perfect for those moments at the end when a character is about to die. Living in those moments and reflecting on what came before with this song playing is probably one of the best moments in any ending. Once we successfully reach Mikoshi and Jack Inn, we're given the mission Changes. We have a conversation with V as Johnny learns that V won't be able to keep the body as a result of the deterioration of his body. The options are to let Johnny keep the body as it's rewriting itself for his consciousness, or let V remain in it for the next 6 months. The name of the mission is of course after the David Bowie song. While I love this song and it's probably the most accurate considering Bowie's identity crisis throughout the entire song and how well it matches V, there's another song that fits of the same name. It's a song by Charles Bradley and it's actually a love song. It's about a man losing the love of his life and the love he had for her. He's changing as a person, and personally, I think it fits V a lot more. It could easily be an allegory for V falling out of love with being a legend after everything they've been through. V got tired of trying to be a legend and just wanted to live by the end of it all and fell out of love with the dream that became seemingly unachievable. Assuming V chooses to keep their body, this begins the mission Path of Glory. It's a song by the Plasmatics, but as for the mission, we're given the task of robbing a casino in outer space by a man who may be able to provide us with a cure. While we don't actually see if V successfully robs it or gets the cure, the song speaks for itself. It's about accepting whatever may come as a result of choosing that path towards glory. V by this point is ready to die if it means becoming a legend, but in this case, it could also be that V knows they're going to die anyways. Whether they succeed with the heist or not isn't important to them. If they succeed, they are finally cured. If not, they tried pulling off the most ambitious heist of all time. Either way, V is happy and willing for whatever comes next. That pretty much concludes the Sun ending as we move towards the Star ending. In essence, this ending is when V chooses to leave Night City and join the Aldecaldos as a nomad. To start this, we have to call Pan Am during Nocturne and begin the mission called We Gotta Live Together. V, along with the other nomads, begin planning how exactly they're going to break into Arasaka Tower. The song itself definitely fits the nomadic vibe of the Aldecaldos as it's a Jimi Hendrix song about family. It also dives into the idea that no matter what, family needs to learn to live united and in harmony, which is what the Aldecaldos do for V. They come together to support someone who helped them so much and stand on a united front. I love the Aldecaldo ending so much, and given that their ending is one of the only ones with a love interest that actually gets an ending, feels a lot like it's meant to be canon. I actually am curious to hear how you guys feel regarding this specific ending in the comments down below. However, to begin the plan, we start digging a tunnel through the bottom of Arasaka, picking up the mission Forward to Death. The mission is named after the song by Dead Kennedys, and it primarily focuses on suicide and how life can grow boring. The writer expresses this welcoming of death as a result of this boredom with a very nihilistic approach. It feels similar to the other songs at this point in the endings, but there's something a bit more. The song has lyrics stating, "I don't need this fucking world, this world brings me down." And yes, it does fit the theme I just described. However, it could also be taken from the perspective of how V feels towards Night City. This place has taken everything from them and is now on the brink of breaking them permanently, and V is just tired of it. Tired of the city and its infectious nature, tired of the pointless killing, tired of the greedy nature of Night City while being given nothing in return. The next mission begins once we finally infiltrate Arasaka, and it's titled Belly of the Beast. It's similar to the other endings in the sense that we pretty much do the same thing. Kill everybody until we get to Mikoshi. However, the song itself is about the Holocaust and sort of a persecution of the Nazi army. Not to necessarily compare the Nazis in Arasaka, but to V and most people of Night City, there's this looming regime that basically runs everything. Besides that, the title itself is also just a reference to the phrase going into the belly of the beast, because it pretty much is going into the belly of the Arasaka beast. Directly after this mission, we get changes again, and following that, we're given the mission all along the Watchtower. V has chosen to live out the rest of their time with the Aldecodos and Judy, depending on your V, and leave Night City. The name of the mission itself is after the song by Bob Dylan. I honestly love that he's brought up so many times, but what the song truly means has been a close-kept secret by Dylan himself, but it speaks of a joker and a thief having a conversation about the situation presented in front of them. There seems to be a history with the way the thief speaks, as he tries to remind the joker not to worry about life and just let things be as they are. To worry would prove simply fruitless. They need to continue on their path, and what is meant to come to them will come to them, whether it's through their own actions or otherwise. It's a bit of a juxtaposition, as the thief means to be laid back and accepting of what's to come, while also understanding that their fate also needs to be acted on. It mirrors V perfectly, as they're accepting of the inevitability that they're going to die soon, but understand that if they don't at least attempt to take control of the time that they have left, there's no difference between dying then and dying now. The next ending we have is the Temperance ending. Now, this is the ending in which V decides to hand their body to Johnny. Most of the missions are exactly the same, except for after the decision to give Johnny the body. The first and only after this choice is called New Dawn Fades. Johnny has been living in V's body for a few weeks and has a newly found friend drive him around Night City to tie up some loose ends before leaving for good. The name is a song by Joy Division, and it's absolutely the best song that describes Johnny's state of mind. The main discussion happening in the song is having to change. Whether this is a change in scenery, style, living, a change needs to happen regarding the relationship the author finds himself in. Johnny struggled in his earlier life with relationships and what he wants out of himself in regards to Night City. The song, For Johnny, can be about his relationship with Alt, V, Rogue, and even Night City. Leaving it for good was the best thing he could have done for his own sanity and his life going forward. Now, we reach the final two endings. One of them, however, is just a mission and not an overall ending, but it deserves its own time. That being said, I believe we can all agree that the mission Don't Fear the Reaper is easily the greatest mission in the game. The actual gameplay, what it means for V when you complete it, the whole 9 yards. As for the song, it's made by a band called the Blue Oyster Cult. I personally hadn't heard of them until this song, and I'm very glad to have discovered them. It's such a beautiful representation of my beliefs and the belief I think most should have regarding death. I believe there's a certain level of celebration that comes with it. Celebrating the life of the one who passed, celebrating that in some way, the person who passed is immortalized through the ones who love them, and that is absolutely the case for V. They've accepted that what they're doing may kill them, and yet, like most endings, welcome it with open arms. V also understands themselves that should they die, they did it on their own terms in the best way that they know how, by being a mercenary. Their goal above all else is to become a legend, and doing what they're doing is going to achieve exactly that. Finally, we reach the tower ending. This ending got its own video entirely separate from this one, and I highly recommend watching it, so the link will be in the description, but I never got a chance to discuss the music. Phantom Liberty's ending is all about surviving Night City as V with no timeline for their death, just living. We begin this mission with Who Wants to Live Forever, a song by Queen. This mission doesn't consist of much besides accepting Reed's offer for a cure. As for the meaning, I believe it's one of the most introspective ones throughout the entire game. The idea being portrayed is the idea that immortality is overrated. Why would you want to live forever? What's the point in that? Life is given meaning through the sole fact that it's going to end. All good things must come to an end, and while it's obvious to never want a good thing to end, the entire point of it is that it does. Otherwise, there's no desire to do anything. There's never desire to love or grow or think or feel, because the option will always be there to have those experiences. It's the idea of the limited time we have being such an important aspect of our lives. V believes that even with everything they've done, their life is precious. They want to enjoy and look back fondly. The reason it's so introspective is that the meaning can be used in reverse. If life is this intangibly beautiful thing because it never ends, why continue on if V's already lived a life more full than most people ever will? And again in reverse, if V has lived a life worth living, why not continue that journey until its natural end? It's a circle that doesn't stop flowing, and I think incorporating the idea of the circle of life into this ending was such a smart decision. The final mission of Phantom Liberty is named Things Done Changed and surprisingly has no actual song listed. It's about V waking up from their coma and learning that things done changed. Almost all of their friends had moved on to something or someone else, understandably so considering V was gone for 2 years. Being honest, I don't think I have a song that fits for this. The closest I got is a song by Black Pumas called Colors. It feels like it perfectly encapsulates the feeling of accepting what is and moving forward, but lacks on the other hand the bittersweet feeling of what came before. That being said, I leave it up to you. What song do you think fits this specific ending best? So, here we are, at the end of what will probably be my favorite series for a long time to come. I didn't think I'd ever actually stick to it and finish, but I'm glad I did. I learned about a lot of new artists and music and really sat with what they meant with regard to the themes and ideas the story was trying to convey. This game has always meant a lot to me, and I've always thought about it mainly because of the existentialism of it all. Everything in this game is all brought back to the question Dex asks us at the start. And truthfully, I think a lot about it myself. Whether or not I want the blaze of glory and all that comes with it. I want the success and money that comes from being a successful content creator and creative, because I truly do believe that I provide a sense of entertainment and amusement to those who watch me. I don't do it for the sole purpose of the money, but my goal ultimately is to become one of the creators that I and everyone else watches. I want to matter and be someone, and I do believe that's all the game really is about. People want to be seen at least once and to have others know that they existed and meant something in the world. I'm well aware that I don't need this to mean something, but I'd like to provide that entertainment and amusement to as many people as I can. That just happens to perfectly align with my desire to become the greatest content creator of all. I don't know what comes next for me or this game. I don't know if I'll continue making videos on it or leave it as well as the countless amount of shorts I've made about the game. All I know is I'll make the videos if you guys want them and if I can tackle it from another perspective. Let me know in the comments which game or franchise you want me to tackle next. I love 2077, but honestly, I do want to look forward. And I realize this is my first real video of 2025, so Happy New Year. I hope you enjoyed 2024, have a better 2025, and achieve the goals you've laid out for yourself. Do yourself a favor and become a legend of Night City. If you're still watching by this point, comment down below your favorite Keanu Reeves movie, and I'll probably send you a code for Phantom Liberty or the game if you haven't played it already. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Peace.